Hello, my friends, and welcome to Genealogy Gems podcast episode number 298. I am Lisa Louise Cook, and it is August of 2025. Summer is quickly rolling along and coming to an end, and I just thought we would catch up on some of the genealogy news in this episode to kind of prepare ourselves for the fall. Maybe going back to school, going back to our research after vacation, whatever it is you're coming back to, it'll be good to be up to date on all the things that are going on that could be of interest and help to your genealogy research. So that's what we want to do in this episode today. One of my favorite websites that I've talked about here on the show before was Elephind. It was Elephind.com. And originally, it was a free search engine for historical newspapers. And they aggregated millions of digitized pages from libraries worldwide. And it was a terrific tool for genealogists, certainly, looking for news articles and obituaries and ads and all that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, it closed its doors. Now, the company that kind of powered that engine of Elephind was Viridian. And I've kind of kept my eye on Viridian because they are a digital software company. They specialize in preserving and making accessible historical newspapers. And they work with a lot of different organizations, corporate libraries and universities and archives. So they've digitized millions and millions of pages, and they are now bringing, of course, artificial intelligence to the table to try to improve the search capabilities, not only making them keyword searchable, but using semantic search so that it's really looking at the full context of the text. So not only do they do newspapers, but they work and provide services for historical societies and other types of organizations. So I just kind of kept my eye on them to see what they are up to. And certainly if you happen to need one of the collections that they have worked on, it's a great resource because Viridian makes them available for free. So keeping up to date with Viridian, I got a notification the other day that they have officially announced Elephind is returning. This is really good news. They are going to upgrade Elephind.com with features like semantic search, which of course makes it more intuitive and it's able to understand language. Of course, hopefully, meaning we're going to be able to find even more in the newspaper articles. And they're talking about an AI search assistant to help you refine your results, suggest related content. All of that is perfect for genealogists. So when we talk about keyword search and semantic search, and we're seeing this in a lot of different search engines. Everybody's bringing this on board. Certainly Google has done it. Do you need both? Now that they can understand language and do semantic search, do we still need to be doing our keyword searching and use our search operators that we've talked about so much? And the answer is yes, really to both. Semantic search brings search to a new level, and it really helps us find so much more within the text. But we're still dealing with the fact that you could end up with huge amounts of results. And that's where keyword search still plays such an important role, incorporating search operators into your search so that you can zero in and target specific names, spellings, phrases. You can also specify that you want words within a certain proximity of each other, really important with names and places and that type of thing. Keyword searching can also allow us to eliminate keywords. So if we're searching for somebody and there is somebody else with the same first and last name, but the middle name is different, we can subtract that middle name from our search using the keyword of the middle name and a minus sign. So definitely these still go hand in hand. And I am just really excited and looking forward to seeing Elephind come back and bigger and better than ever. So keep an eye out for that. I will certainly be probably doing a video and more on the podcast about using Elephind once it returns so we can get the most out of it. Ever wondered what life was really like for your ancestors? With newspapers.com, you can explore the world they lived in through their eyes in their time. Search over 1 billion newspaper pages dating from 1690 to 2025 and uncover the stories that shaped your family's past. From birth and wedding announcements to obituaries and community news, these pages hold the milestones and everyday moments that connect you to your roots. But it's more than names and dates. It's about standing in their shoes. Picture reading the local paper that your great-grandmother once held, or stumbling upon a forgotten article about your grandfather's first business. These aren't just clippings. They're pieces of your family's story. Newspapers.com turns curiosity into connection. Start exploring today and see where your history takes you. Visit newspapers.com/genealogygems. That's going to get you 20% off your subscription. That's newspapers.com/genealogygems. Your past is just a search away. And speaking of newspapers, one of our other favorite free websites is Chronicling America over at the Library of Congress. And Chronicling America has been going through a lot of gyrations and changes. They have a massive collection, and they've been trying to find ways to make it, again, more searchable, more accessible to their users. And I'm happy to say that now in August of 2025, they have finally finished their latest and biggest upgrade to the website. It's official. It's launched. You no longer go to the old version of Library of Congress's Chronicling America. You now are taken directly to the new one. So you're automatically sent from the legacy version of Chronicling America to this new version of Chronicling America with added features and tools. You will find it at chroniclingamerica.loc.gov. This new user interface, the new website, includes enhanced search tools. They're touting better navigation. Now, I tried using it as they were developing it, and I thought that there were some challenges there. It's a little clunky, a little hard, but I think the overall goal has been to get better navigation so you can really see what's available and find your way around the website to get what you need. And they have new features for browsing their over 20 million digitized newspaper pages. And they range from 1777 all the way up to 1963. Gosh, I would love to see them get beyond 1963 to more current papers, but so far that seems to be the limit. But back to 1777, fantastic. It's a huge range of newspapers. So some of the new key features that you're going to find over there are improved image search for zooming into details like faded text. You'll also see advanced search options for filtering by state, by language, by ethnicity, and title records with historical context on newspapers. And they're saying that those are going to be ideal for tracing migration patterns or local events that are tied to ancestors. So if you want to learn more about this, I would recommend checking out some of the guides they have. I'm going to have links to these in the show notes for this podcast episode. There is a guide for researchers for Chronicling America, and also there are tips for searching in Chronicling America. Another one is on how to browse all digitized titles and exploring a newspaper title record. And the last one we have here is 5 tips for using the image viewer. And I think I've mentioned before here on the podcast, they've also included an interactive map, which is really great when you're trying to see for a specific location where maybe your family lived, what were some of the neighboring papers? Because that's very likely a place where they may have also been mentioned, even if there wasn't a newspaper in their hometown, or you didn't find the article in their hometown. I'll never forget researching my great-grandparents, and their town has a local paper, but it was published once a week back when they lived there. And they didn't mention anything about people becoming naturalized citizens. And I had the year that my great-grandfather became a naturalized citizen. I have his naturalization paperwork. So it just seemed like, well, maybe somebody was talking about this in the newspaper. But when you look at the interactive map, then you can see where the county seat is. And it's not that far from their town. Went to check the city where the county seat was held, and sure enough, there was a big article on page 1 about the group of people who had become naturalized, had taken their oath, and, there was my great-grandfather listed. So fantastic addition to naturalization papers. That's what I really love about newspaper research, is that we can go back and take a look at the kinds of documents we've already found, the facts, the data, and then go dig back into the newspapers and see if we can find commentary on those things. And so often it's there. So be sure and check out the new, improved version of Chronicling America. And would love to know in the comments on the show notes page if you find something on any of these websites or the things that we're talking about. Would love to hear what you're discovering. Okay, now taking a look at some of the big genealogy websites you were probably getting into on a regular basis. MyHeritage, Ancestry, Family Search. Let's start with MyHeritage. Did you know they have their own wiki? I talk a lot about the Family Search wiki, which I think is fantastic and a huge help if you haven't checked that out. But MyHeritage has been developing one themselves, and they are looking for contributors from the genealogy community. So let me just read to you what their announcement said. The MyHeritage Wiki contributor community is a curated group of passionate family history enthusiasts who are helping shape a valuable online resource for genealogists around the world. We're currently seeking volunteers who'd like to share their knowledge, contribute articles, and become part of the movement to make genealogy more accessible for everyone, everywhere. And this contributing that you might consider doing comes with some perks. So some of the perks they talk about, there are going to be some opportunities perhaps to get MyHeritage subscriptions, personalized gifts, and the other thing they list here is a dedicated contributor page showcasing their articles, biography, and personal professional links. So if you want to be kind of highlighted as a regular contributor, they will showcase the people that are making the big contributions. And that just kind of helps get the word out about what you are doing as well. So if you want to get involved in that, they have a form that you fill out. I will have a link in the show notes that you can go do that. And just add your knowledge. It's amazing how each one of us, through the unique path that we follow in our own research, come across things that might be something that nobody's ever thought of, or nobody's come across, or hasn't looked at for years. And your working knowledge of these areas that have really been part of your research could be such a huge benefit to others. So check it out and see if maybe contributing to the MyHeritage Wiki is something you might want to do. Now, something else that they've got going on over at MyHeritage, of course, is LiveMemory that brings your photographs to life. And what they announced this summer was they added some fun new effects and improved AI technology. Are you feeling saturated by AI yet? Wow, it's like everywhere. Every time I turn around, there's, some new application of AI to whatever it is I'm doing. Gosh, my iPhone updated the other day and all of a sudden launched a new AI app, and, it's amazing. Some of it is, silly and kind of ridiculous. Some of it just sucks you down a hole that keeps you from doing things that matter to you. But of course, other things are just huge, huge benefits. You can see what you think about MyHeritage bringing AI to bringing your photographs to life through LiveMemory. So let me share with you what they say is new here. MyHeritage's photo animation tool, and that's what it does. It kind of animates your photographs, includes fun effects, things like you can do colorization and you can enhance your photos. And now they've added these improved AI animations that are supposed to be more realistic, bringing your old families to life with movements like smiling or head turns, that kind of thing. It's kind of fun. Just to, we've all tried to imagine what our ancestors are like, and this is one way to just look at a possibility. It's not real, but, it gives you a sense that, wow, these are real people. So they're saying that the benefits for genealogists are enhanced storytelling. And isn't that something we'd all like to be able to do? Get our family members interested and involved and, kind of tickle their fancy with a little bit of family history. They may not be interested in all of the details, but certainly animating an old photograph of somebody that they're related to would probably catch their interest. So these AI improvements are not just adding kind of the fun animations, but they're also doing a better job, they say, of handling damaged or low quality photos. And certainly they've made huge strides on that. And that's what we're hoping for, isn't it? That AI might continue to do a better and better job of really cleaning up some of these old photographs. So if you are interested in having your ancestors do even more fun and maybe silly things in your photographs as animated little short clips, check it out. It's LiveMemory, and I'll have a link to their blog post in the show notes. The third item out of MyHeritage, and yes, they have been busy, is the 1.25 billion historical records they published this summer. It was in June. There was a massive update, including birth, marriage, death, census, and immigration records from a wide variety of countries. It boosts their total record number to over 20 billion. So check it out. You're going to find all kinds of new records there from Europe, from the US. If it's been a while since you've taken a look, go check out your smart matches, go see what they're finding, and just dig in, because when you get new, fresh records like this, it could be the possibility of busting through a brick wall or something that you've been waiting for. So why not go check it out? There are 1.25 billion new historical records. And finally, something else that you might want to check out is their free webinar replay video. Now, this is over at Legacy Family Tree Webinars, and it's on finding and fixing tree inconsistencies. They have the inconsistency checker. It will flag, things that maybe don't make sense in your tree. Make sure that you can go back and clean things up if you need to. And if you've ever looked at that and found it maybe daunting, I would recommend go check out this free video. It's a great overview and will help you clean up your tree over at MyHeritage. Today's episode is sponsored by MyHeritage, a global discovery platform enjoyed by 110 million people worldwide. MyHeritage has it all and offers a full-service experience that bridges your past, present, and future. MyHeritage has developed powerful genealogy tools to enrich your family tree and take your research to the next level. Receive automatic matches to family trees of fellow MyHeritage users and historical records, which provide new details that you can add to your tree. Explore 12 billion historical records to uncover fascinating new insights about your ancestors. Add new information to your family tree in one click. Check your tree for inaccuracies, colorize your black and white photos, and connect with relatives around the globe. MyHeritage makes it all possible and puts the discoveries at your fingertips. I've been colorizing some of my own personal family photos, and not only are they beautiful, but in many of the photos, it's actually been revealing more details so I can see more of my family history. Growing your family tree is easier than ever before with MyHeritage. The discoveries are out there and waiting to be made. Visit myheritage.com and try it today. That's myheritage.com. All right. Ancestry has also been busy this summer, and they introduced something really interesting. I didn't see this coming, but here it is. It's Club 1890. Have you heard about this? Really interesting. It's kind of fashioned after Disney's Club 33. Do you remember hearing about that? My family was always just totally into Disneyland, and we lived in California for a long time, so we'd make that trip down there quite often, and you'd hear about Disney clubs, kind of a special exclusive club, very expensive. And it was only by invitation. Well, Ancestry is doing Club 1890 by invitation only. And that caught my eye because I started thinking, now how did they decide who to invite and who not to? And then you have to think about AI. And everything we do online is tracked in some way, right? And our phone is interconnected with our computer and all of our accounts. And I mean, I'm sure they have amazing profiles of the financial status of everybody who's ever used that website. I mean, I don't have any inside scoop, but I got to tell you, I'm guessing that with this increase in data and information and profiles of every user on the planet, they can really target who can afford Club 1890. So what does it include? Well, expert coaching. They say they have monthly one-on-one sessions with a genealogy expert and weekly group coaching sessions. I think there's a time limit on that. I don't have that here in my notes, but I want to say I read that it was something like 30 minutes. So it's not a huge amount of time, but you do get access to a genealogy expert, maybe to, work on a brick wall, something that you're dealing with. Another category they talk about is advanced learning, access to exclusive events and personalized assistance designed to enhance your research skills. VIP services, early access to historical records, reserved seating at events. I'm guessing maybe Roots Tech. I don't know if Ancestry is going to be putting on their own events, but and also priority access to customer service. Oh, really interesting. They are putting the people who can pay more ahead of everybody else when it comes to getting customer service, which I'll be honest, I hear from you. I get your emails, and I know that there are challenges with getting customer service out of some of these big genealogy websites. So that might get a little more challenging if other people are ahead of you in line, huh? Premium perks, things like discounts on professional research. So this is definitely a kind of a marketing funnel into their professional researcher business. It says discounts on travel and custom mementos. And other benefits include annual all-access family plan, Pro Tools, 4 DNA kits a year. I'm not sure why you'd need that many, and a $100 gift card for Ancestry merchandise. And what does all this cost you? $5,000 a year. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I imagine there might be some people, but here's what I'm thinking. I guess if you're a rabid genealogist and you have lots of money, this would appeal to you. But I think that a lot of people who have lots of money oftentimes hire a genealogist. They do all the research and they'll publish the book for you. And many people do that. And I think that's and certainly that's who Ancestry Pro genealogists focuses on, right? People who have the money and would like them to do all of the research, maybe publish out books and things like that. So again, it looks like a really small group of people who would actually take advantage of this. I think you'd have to want to do the research yourself, but also have the finances to do it. Okay, I'm really interested in what you think about this. Does this even entice you? Would you give up a vacation to be able to, participate in a program like this? Head to the show notes page, put it in the comments. I want to hear what you think. And if by chance you've joined, maybe you can tell us if it's just been amazing or if it's met your expectations. But interesting move, because here's the thing. Genealogy, this industry is getting quite mature. Back when I started podcasting in 2007, it was early days. The internet was still, getting up and running and figuring out what it was going to do with genealogy. And genealogists were well ahead of the game and out there early. But it's evolved tremendously, and look at what artificial intelligence is doing. All of that, though, has led to what I call, it's really like the automation of genealogy. I mean, you notice it yourself, don't you? You go on the website and you're like, there are so many hints here, and they're now actually pre-populating who they think the next generation is and saying, hey, do you want to approve this as your next generation, versus solely just giving you the hints. But all of that is like, it's happening so fast and furious that it's leading us. We're not necessarily always leading our genealogy research. Back in the day, when we all did it on paper and then we all did it ourselves through online researching and heading to the archives, we would decide what's the next thing I need to figure out, who is the next generation I want to pursue, and then you'd have to build your records leading up to that to find it. But now it really does seem like it happens automatically, and our job starts becoming, we're just reviewing, verifying. It can feel like that. So what that means in the industry for companies like Ancestry that are trying to make a profit is the records are kind of saturated. The DNA testing is kind of saturated, and they've got to come up with something new to keep this profitable. And so I guess that makes sense. A club like this, having their pro genealogists, like MyHeritage, animating photographs, you've got to expand beyond just the records, just the research, to keep the business viable. So this is definitely one of those steps, and I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts on it. So leave a comment if you can. And speaking of Ancestry, the head genealogist over at Ancestry is Krista Cowan. She's often known as the Barefoot Genealogist, and she invited me on her podcast. It's called Stories That Live in Us. And she sits down with an individual and really talks about kind of their genealogy journey, stories that have resonated with them. And it has a wide variety of people and stories. Very interesting. So she invited me on the show, and I really shared my personal story, how I got into genealogy research, how messy families can be. My family is certainly no exception of that. And I know that there are many, many people who have the different areas of their family where there are struggles and challenges. And I agreed to do the podcast because, maybe it's just the stage in my life, but I really feel like it's important to share not just the awesome stuff that happens, but the stuff that's not so awesome, the stuff that's messy and it's hard and it's hurtful, because that is life. And I wanted to share some kind of genealogical serendipity stories that have occurred in my own life, stories of reconciliation, of hope. There is always hope within families that things can change and improve and evolve, and forgiveness, which of course is something we all need. So that it was just really wonderful to have a long-form podcast where we could take our time and kind of go over it. And I shared a story that I have shared before, long time ago. Oh my gosh, way back in the early days. And it was about when my grandmother on my father's side passed away. And how through, I don't even know what I can attribute it to, but I discovered a family quilt, a quilt that my great-grandmother had made. And my dad and I kind of discovered it together. I don't want to spoil the story for you, but go and listen to the podcast. I'll have a link in the show notes. What I wanted to add, and honestly, I thought I talked about this in the episode, but it's not there. So I don't know if it got edited or what. I don't know. But an integral part of this story is that my great-grandmother, Lenora Herring, was a very devout Christian. She lived her faith. She shared her faith. It was very important to her. It was very important to her to share the gospel with others. And I've seen the letters that she wrote to my grandmother over the years, because my grandmother was raised that way in the church, but she kind of fell away from it. She got married, she moved away, they lived in Oklahoma, and she and her husband moved out to California to work in the shipyards during World War II. And, try to build a better life. But one of the things that happened was that she just kind of fell away from her faith. They didn't really attend church. And she went through a divorce. Interesting, I talked about in the podcast that after she and my grandfather divorced, she married my grandfather's brother, which was interesting. We always called him Uncle Elsie. I guess he was my step-grandfather. Wonderful man. I loved them both. But, she just had a lot of things going on in her life. And my great-grandmother would write her letters and just encourage her and try to say, come on back to your faith. And eventually, in her 70s probably, my grandmother did. And when we found the quilt, I think it was my great-grandmother's final letter, not only to my grandmother, but to me and to my father. And she expressed her love in a little note that was pinned to the quilt for her family. It's interesting because my faith is a very important part of my life, and it's amazing to me to see how my great-grandmother hung in there all those years. She never gave up on my grandmother, and sharing the gospel with her. She was concerned for her and wanted her to have a better life and an eternal life. And it was just so interesting in that experience to understand we have so many different opportunities to touch the lives of our descendants. It's not just about, finding your ancestors, but it's thinking proactively about how you're going to touch the lives of people long after you're gone. And my great-grandmother certainly did. We talk about this a little bit in a premium episode we did. It was one of our 11s with Lisa live streams. It's available as a video replay, where we talked about, Jay wrote in an email and said, gosh, he's so overwhelmed with all these automated hints and things that go on. And he's like, where do I spend my time? I'm getting older, and how do I figure out what's most important? And in that video, I talked a lot about my own experience. I did a short video of it that's also available on YouTube. How my experience with breast cancer, really changed my view on this and helped prioritize and focus what is important to me. And it was the realization that I can't just focus on my ancestors. I need to be thinking about the full tapestry of my family, right? The ones who come after me, the ones who came before me, and the ones who came after me, what can I offer them? And what we can offer them is what is uniquely in our heart and our soul and our mind, what we know that maybe nobody else knows. Perhaps like my great-grandmother, we could find something physical to create that can be passed on, that can be touched and held and looked at and read and connect with people long after we're gone. So I hope that you enjoy that personal conversation that I had with Krista Cowan on the Stories That Live in Us podcast. And I'd love to hear from you how you're finding ways to touch the lives of your future descendants and the descendants of your family. Podcasting is wonderful. I love it. It's an amazing vehicle. It's so fun that it's expanded into video as well. So often, I know you're finding on our website that many of the podcasts that I do now are both chopped into videos and also available as the full-length audio podcast. We all learn different ways. I hope you're enjoying all the different ways that we bring genealogy gems to you. And if you are new to this podcast, welcome. And I hope that you will join my free email newsletter, because that is absolutely the best way to stay in touch with everything that we're doing here. Head to genealogygems.com. On the home page, you'll see a red button, and you click that to join the newsletter. And the bonus is that when you do that, you get a free ebook with your first email. So be sure to open the first email, because you'll find the ebook link there. And then you can download that with lots of special tips and tricks for genealogy research. Well, I would say that's the news from Lake Wobegon, but I can say that's the news from Texas. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your summer. And thank you so much for listening, my friend. I'll talk to you soon.